Okay, so our today's topic is cell structure and organization. So first of all, we will know that what we will like know about, learn through this topic: the cell, the study and the history of the cell, types of cell, and as well the structure of the cell. So moving forward, we will know that what is a cell. Before that, I just want to ask you, do you know how the plant and the entire living organism are made? Do you know anything about how everything is made around us? Arav, can you hear me?
Yeah, not really.
Am I audible to you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So can you tell me how everything like the plant, everything like us, the human, the animal, creature, every living organism are made? Do you know anything about it?
By cells.
By cells, by joining the tiny particles and making all together of the cells, everything around us are made. So the cell is a living particle which make a complete living organism. It is a tiny particle, and this completely all together make a basic building block of any living organism. Okay, and also it is a very smallest. It's very smallest, so that we cannot see through our naked eye. We can only see through the microscope. And that is why the cell is called as a structural and functional unit of the living organism. Structural because it makes up the structure of the human body or the animals or the plants and any living organism. And functional because it plays a major function regarding every cell. Every particular cell plays a major function. So I hope you get clear about the cell part, that cell is a very tiny particle. It is a very smallest basic building block of any living organism. I hope you get this. Okay, great. So moving towards the next slide. So what is the study of cell called? See, it's obvious that everything in the biology or in the science, everything need a research. So for studying the cell part, the scientists gone through the research, and that particular study known as the cytology. Cyto is the Latin word, and the specific word means the cell. Cyto means the cell, and the log-G, that means the logos. It means the study. So basically, the study of the cell is called the cytology. So I hope you get this also, that what is the study of cell called as well, right? So see, first of all, the cell, as I told you, cell is a very tiny particle. These all are like very small particles that we are not able to see through the basic our naked eyes. And the study of the cell, which the scientists have researched, that is known as the cytology. Okay. So moving towards the next, then. So this is the history of the cell, like how the cell research has been started, from where until when. So in 1665, Robert Hooke, he was an English botanist. He discovered the cell in a cork. Basically, cork means this type of structure was there. A honeybee cork was there in the bark of the branches of the tree. He found that a little slice, and when he zoomed the cell, he found a cellula. Okay, the small block, and named as a little room. He named it as a little room. So he explained in his book that is named as the Micrographia about all the cells. Cells have been very rigid and of the dead cells. So Robert Hooke was the first one to discover the cell. Are you getting this? In 1665. Arav, are you getting this?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So Robert Hooke was the first scientist. He was the English botanist. He discovered first cell in the 1665 year. And later on, in 1617-4, Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he discovered, he just read through the cells, and he found that in the pond water, the free living cells were floating. He observed that in the pond water, the free living cells were floating. So that is why also the later research of the Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he known as the father of microbiology. Anton von Leeuwenhoek, known as the father of microbiology. And then later on, in 1831, Robert Brown, he discovered that inside the cell there is one nucleus. Like Robert Hooke have decided, found that what is a cell, how the cell looks. See, this is if the cell structure. This is the structure of the cell. So inside cell, Robert Brown found that there is one nucleus, which is known as the carrion also, the nucleus part. Here, if you can see, this is the nucleus part, and this in the outside part is known as the cell. So like this, Robert Hooke have discovered the cell, and Robert Brown have discovered nucleus. Okay? Are you getting this?
Yeah.
Okay. So later on, the Purkinje, he named the term protoplasm, which is the part of the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, there was a part which is named as the protoplasm, the cytoplasm of the nucleus, and the cell structure. He found some fluid structure, the fluid structure of the cell in the nucleus. Purkinje found it in the 1830s. And then afterwards, there comes the theory. The cell theory came with the help of Theodor Schwann and Matthias Claden. They both together discovered the cell theory. He denotes the cell theory in the plant as well as the animal also. In 1838 and in 1839. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you see and mark the date, 1665, the Robert Hooke discovered the cell. In 1617-4, Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he found the cells on the pond water, the living cells. Robert Hooke has found the dead cell. Robert Hooke had found the dead cell, and Anton von Leeuwenhoek found the living cells in the pond water. Later on, Robert Brown, he discovered the nucleus, and then in 1830, Purkinje, he discovered protoplasm, the fluid substance of the cell. And in 1838 and in 1839, that Theodor Schwann and Matthias Claden, they both discovered the cell theory in plant as well as animal. Afterwards, the Rudolf Virchow came. Rudolf Virchow, he explained that every cell every cells arise from the pre-existing cells. Pre-existing cells, which cell is already present. From that cell, a new cell have been formed. Rudolf Virchow explained that in the cell theory, the third part, in 1955. And again, in the note was there that the British zoologist Theodor Schwann, he observed the thin layer outside of the cell, that is known as the plasma membrane. And again in 1914, the electron microscope was invented, which is able to see the structure of the complex cell. So I hope you get this each and every point about this discovery and event of the cell. Okay? If you want to take a note, you can take the note as well.
I'll screenshot it.
Okay, very well. Then moving towards the next part, the cell theory timeline. See, I told you now who discovered the cell theory, right? Who discovered the cell theory?
Robert Hooke.
Sorry, I can't hear you clear.
Can you repeat again?
I asked you that I told you in the previous one who discovered the cell theory. The two person discovered the cell theory. Can you name them?
The Theodore,
Yes, and
Rudolph,
yes.
and
The
Robert Brown.
Matthias Sladen and Theodor Schwann. They both had discovered the cell theory in 1838 and in 1839. Matthias Sladen discovered that plants are made up of cells. This is important to note that Matthias Sladen, he discovered the cell in the plant. He discovered that plants are made of the cell. And Theodor Schwann have discovered that animals are made up of the cell. They both have discovered each and everything in different particular living organisms. One has discovered in the plant and one has discovered in the animal. And again, in 1855, Rudolf Virchow, he stated that the living cells arises from other living organisms, not from the one purpose, not making like new organisms arising. It's just making out from one organism to other organism. Rudolf Virchow stated that. So the conclusion of the cell theory is the first, Matthias Sladen have discovered the plant cell. Plant is made up of the cell. Theodor Schwann discovered that the animal is made up of the cell. And Rudolf Virchow discovered that all cells arises from the pre-existing cells. That is the cells which is already present. Okay? Okay. So moving towards the next, what was the conclusion of the cell theory then? So Sladen, Schwann and Virchow, these three all together have discovered the cell theory. When the Sladen and Schwann proposed the cell theory in 1838, the cell biology research was forever changed. What was the research? That all life forms are made from one or more cells. If I am talking about ourselves, like our human body, so our human body is completely made up of thousands of the cells, right? We are not of the single cell. Am I right? We are not of the single cell. So can you explain me, if we are not the single-celled animal or we are not the single-cell organism, then what we are called? What we are called in?
Multicellular.
Yes, multicellular. So all the life forms in the entire earth, living exception is the unicellular, are made up from the more than one cell. Second theory was that all the cells arises from the pre-existing cells. Pre-existing cells, that means the one cell, like a mother. Mother body is a one cell. And when mother is giving birth to the another body, the baby is the another cell. So mother body is arising other cell, that is the baby body. That means that one body is arising from the another living organism. And the cell is the very smallest form of the life. It is a very tiny particle. The most little tiny particle combined to make a one human body or one animal body or any plant. Like a little seed can become a huge plant, right? So one single cell make a huge body. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So that means the cell theory also provides us with an operational definition of the life. The cell theory is completely defined complete life. Okay? So I'll go through the revision part. So you get the cell part. What is a cell, right?
Yeah.
And how cell have been discovered, right? And the timeline of the cells. The first cell was discovered by whom?
The first cell was discovered by Robert Hooke.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, saying
Cell
the
was
first
discovered by?
Robert Hooke, the first one.
Yes. And in which year?
I can't remember.
Yes. Okay. So moving towards the next part, see. This is the types of cell part. Types of cell. Okay. So from here, from this flow chart, I'll explain you how the cell is divided into each and every part. Okay. So the cell is divided into two parts based on nucleus. Based on nucleus, cell is divided into two parts. One is prokaryote and another one is eukaryote. Prokaryotic means the primitive nucleus, something which the nucleus is very old. Okay, and eukaryote means the true nucleus, means that nucleus is completely formed in this part, in the eukaryote part. So that is why we called as the true nucleus. Just see, in the biology, once you go through the each and every term name, the simple words have a very big definition. So prokaryote means the primitive, the old nucleus which is not fully developed, and eukaryote means the true nucleus which is very completely developed. Okay, so in the prokaryote, in the prokaryote part, they are defined as the monera, one kingdom. This is the first kingdom, and the bacteria, which is archaebacteria and eubacteria, this is the second kingdom. Okay, kingdom means one kingdom which defines so many species in one kingdom. So single-celled unicellular are the monera, and as well as the bacteria also. Bacteria is also known as the single-celled. Okay, and then eukaryote, if you see the unicellular as well as the multicellular, two types of cells according to number, based on number, it's divided. The eukaryote. Unicellular means the single cell. A thin single cell defines the unicellular, and that the third kingdom comes, protista. The third kingdom comes along with it, protista. And then the multicellular one. The multicellular means more than one cell. More than one cell, and with cell wall and without cell wall. There comes the with cell wall and the without cell wall. With the presence of cell wall, there are two parts which that perform the photosynthesis, and another one which do not perform any photosynthesis. Okay, so the part which performs photosynthesis process, that is the green plant. As you know that green plant is the only one which make their own food through the process photosynthesis, right? And the fungi that is do not perform any photosynthesis. The best example is mushroom, right? Mushroom, if you see, mushroom is a fungi and it do not perform any photosynthesis, and it also have a cell wall as well. And without cell wall is the Animalia kingdom, the last kingdom, okay, which is like the sixth kingdom, in which the animal as well as human come along. Okay, we do not have any cell wall. Okay, so I hope you get this part, the types of cell part. If you want to take a note, a screenshot of this flow chart you can take. For the further one, because this is very easy to understand flow chart, so you can able to understand each and every part very clearly.
Yeah.
Some part is like from your further classes, but I hope you can able to get it. Okay. So the next part is the cell structure. This is the complete cell structure. If I tell you, see. You can see this is how our cell looks inside our body, and each and every part of our body, each and every part, if I say so, our hand, our head, our whole body having this each and every small part of the cell. Our fingers, our palm, our hand, everything having these parts, the DNA, the mitochondria, ribosomes. Okay. So this is the structure of one cell. This is the structure of only one cell. Okay? That means the cell membrane, first the outer part, then inside this is a nucleus. This is a nucleus part. Okay, and inside the nucleus there is a DNA. DNA, I hope you know
Yeah.
deoxyribonucleic acid, right? DNA is a part which defines that we are passed on through our parent generation, right?
Yeah.
And then endoplasmic reticulum around the nucleus, the cytoplasm, which is a fluid structure. Cytoplasm is a fluidic structure. Mitochondria, which is also known as a mitochondria is also known as a, do you know? Yes or no? Do you know anything about mitochondria? Ara, can you hear me?
Sorry, actually.
Okay. So, do you know anything about mitochondria?
Uh, and it's used for cellular respiration.
Okay. Mitochondria is known as a powerhouse of the cell, which provides us the energy. Whatever we make our food, it gets stored in the mitochondria part. Mitochondria help us to make an energy. Okay, so that is why it's known as a powerhouse of the cell. And then come the ribosome and the lysosome and the Golgi apparatus. Okay, so this is the cell structure. This is the complete cell structure. Okay, which define our whole complete body. Got it? Okay. So moving towards the next, I hope you understood this part also as well.
Yeah.
If you want to take a note of it, you can want to take a screenshot, you can take.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving towards the next again. See, this is it. This is the cell structure part in a mind map of the cell structure. See, the cell membrane, the enzyme, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, microvilli, and everything you see with the help of with their function it has. Okay, so I'll explain you each and every part. Okay, one by one. 1 second. See, the cell structure, first part, if I say lysosome. Lysosome is an enzyme. Okay, this is an enzyme basically. Endoplasmic reticulum is of two types. Endoplasmic reticulum is of two types. The rough endoplasmic reticulum and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum, it have ribosome of 80S eukaryote and 70S prokaryote. And what it does, the rough ER, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum, it makes proteins and glycoproteins. This is the function of the endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, and then smooth endoplasmic reticulum, it does not have any ribosome. That is why it's called as smooth. Okay, it does not have any ribosome, and it makes lipids and carbohydrates in our body. It helps us to make lipids as well as the carbohydrates in our body. Got me? You clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So then come to the Golgi apparatus. If I talk about the Golgi bodies, so Golgi bodies, it helps us in transporting, in packing and finishing. Whatever we eat, whatever we do inside our body, the Golgi apparatus, what it does, it helps in the transportation, it helps in the packing of that particular thing, and it finishes the end of the process of that. So Golgi apparatus helps to do so, that part. Now coming to the microvilli, it is like a small villi, this kind of villi. It increases the surface area in our body. It increases the area inside our body. Okay. Then comes the nucleus, which is very important part in our body. Nucleus have the part nucleoplasm and then nucleolus and the chromatin. which makes DNA, and then the gene, which define how the body will be made. Actually, DNA is known as a map of the human body. With the help of DNA, the human body can be made. Okay, if see, like I can see you particularly can understand about the Hulk. Have you seen Hulk, right?
Obviously.
Yes. Then Hulk or Spider-Man or any person like these type of people, what the changes made them like that? Because of the DNA changes, the DNA inside their body, which they have, the DNA changes made them like that. The Hulk and that the Spider-Man, they all become like that because of the DNA changes. Whatever the DNA they are having, they got some fault in the DNA caused that to be so in the Hulk or in the Spider-Man form. Okay. Then coming towards the next, what is the function of this nucleus? It sends the messenger in the outer membrane, the inner membrane, and the nuclear pore. Okay, it helps in the messenger part. It sends the messenger to make the DNA. Coming towards the next, mitochondria. Mitochondria have two parts, the outer membrane and the inner membrane. Okay, and it also helps in the DNA part. This is also known as the powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria, as I told you, it's also known as the powerhouse of the cell, and it provides energy. It provides energy, that is ATP, adenosine triphosphate, as we say. Are you clear?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Then comes the cell membrane, which is the structure of the outer and inner structure. Okay. If I tell you about the cell membrane, this is the structure. This is the portrait of the cell membrane. It is made up of the phospholipid and as well as the protein. Phospholipid can be bilayer, structural, and diffusion and osmosis is the process. And also the fluid mosaic model. You will study about this in the further classes, in the senior classes. And protein type is intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic means the inside, and extrinsic means outside of the body. So forming the protein through the outside of the cell. And the function of this cell membrane protein is to transport and give the signal inside our body. It transports particular material and and gives the signal inside the body. Got you? Clear? Okay. So now I hope this is clear. If you want to take the screenshot of this, you can take it. Okay. So moving towards the next part again, then 1 second. Let me clear this. See, this is the complete mind map which I'll explain you. Okay. See, cell which can be observed with the help of the microscope. Okay. It is consists of the animal cells and as a plant cell also. And when the cells work together, it form a tissue. This is the organization of the cell. This part is the organization of the cell. And tissues form together the organs, our heart, kidney, liver, etc. And this organs together form one entire system. Like heart is known as the circulatory system. The stomach, our gallbladder, intestine form the digestive system, right? And whole the nervous system formed by the help of the circulatory system, right? With the help of the circulatory system and the nerve cells, right? Yeah. Okay. And the animal cells contain nucleus, cytoplasm, vacuole, cell membrane, okay? But animal cells do not contain any cell wall, okay? If you see, this is the structure. Cell, nucleus, cytoplasm, vacuole and cell membrane. Only animal cells contain. And plant cells contain all these, the nucleus, cytoplasm, vacuole, cell membrane as well as the cell wall also. Okay? What is in the nucleus? There is a chromosome, the XX chromosome of the female and XY chromosome in the male in the human body, and as on every animal and every living organism have their own chromosome. Okay, what does the chromosome do? It controls the cell's activity. The nucleus function is to control the cell's activity. Whatever the cell is doing, it controls the activity of the cell. Okay, now the cytoplasm. Inside the cytoplasm, there is a mitochondria, non-living granules, and the chloroplast as well. Chloroplast in the plant cell only. Chloroplast in the plant cell, not in the animal cell. Okay, and mitochondria helps in the respiration. What is the function of the mitochondria? It helps in the respiration, so that also it makes the energy flow in our body, the ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Non-living granules, what they do, that are the food and the waste material. Whatever the food and whatever the waste material in our body, that is stored in this cytoplasm part. Okay, and the chloroplast is also present in the cytoplasm, which help in the process of photosynthesis in plant cells. Okay. Okay. So again, now coming to the vacuole, that is contained of the cell cap, the cap of the cell. Okay, and support the cell. It supports the cells to get rigid and to be stand in a proper, like in a formation. Okay. Next is the cell membrane. What is the function of the cell membrane? It controls the material which get out or in of the cell. Through the cell membrane, like inside our in our body, there is a cell. In the gaseous way, we can export our cell outside and inside. We can intake through the help of the cell membrane. Okay. And the cell wall, it support and prevent entry of the excess water. It's found in the plant cell only, which helps. See, this is a plant. If there is no cell wall, the intake and outtake of the water can be excess, and which can ruin the plant completely. So that is why there is a cell wall which helps in the support part only. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I hope this much is clear to you.
Perfect.
Right? Okay. So there is an end of this. Like this much topic is enough for like today. So anything you want to ask regarding this anymore? Like I was like continuously speaking, so I hope you get it.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Anything you want to ask?
No, not really.
Okay. So I hope you get the notes also as well. Okay.